All right, everybody. Welcome. Episode 7, VGM Show. I'm your host, VGM Hero, and I'm here to save your day or your weekend or whenever you decide to listen to me. Maybe I'm saving your sanity. I'm hoping so. Cheers, guys. This is take 3. Uh, I got a little bit of bourbon in here, and this is just some Pepsi. Anyway, hope you guys are doing all right. Let me just make sure I'm comfortable and everything. All right, we're set up. Yeah, actually, this is take 3 because I messed up on the first one. Oh, it sucked. I was going for like 7 minutes and then I accidentally minimized the thing instead of just touching the other file folder. And it just stopped rolling and I was like, oh, how rude. Anyway, I was already through the table of contents, but we could go through that again. Basically, the topics for today are going to be I'm going to talk about like video games really have never really angered me, and we'll talk about something of why and like what I see out there, and we'll elaborate on that one. And I'm going to talk about what it means to sell out. If anybody didn't see my post about Henry Rollins maybe 2 weeks ago, um, oh, this is a good one. Uh, yeah, we're going to talk about games like the word I'd like to use is raw, like how raw games used to be. Yeah, I think that's the right word. They were just so organic in some sense. And I just kind of miss some games that I think that I'll mention that just like they kind of capture what I mean. Um, the future of gaming for me personally, because apparently everybody's sharing their opinion about that, like what they're going to do with the rest of their gaming lives. And I might as well share mine. Uh, the Wii, we're going to talk about that excellent machine. We're going to talk about Nintendo. We're going to talk about Rare and GoldenEye N64. Talk about some 90s music. We're going to talk about a movie really quick, Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey. If anybody's seen that, we're going to elaborate a little bit on that one. If anybody's seen it, you already know how crazy that movie is. Social media advice that I was given and sort of like my thoughts about it. And then the new Street Fighter movie. Now, I'm going to just jump right into it. Okay, so I see a lot of people like just the way that they seem to talk. Now, this is, I guess, maybe a general thing about like Twitter and like social media and online culture, but like, hold on, there we go. I don't think I don't think that video games ever really made me this angry before from what I see with people. It's pretty crazy out there. I'm not seeing. Does anybody have any helpful things to say? You know what I mean? That aren't always just trying to be provocative or like, I don't know, just it kind of bugs me because like that's what I mean. Like I can understand being frustrated with the game in terms of like gameplay or like it's a frustrating part of the game that you can't seem to pass or something, or it happens to be like a boss that almost nobody can beat. Like those things, I understand that. What I don't understand is just like how people like to describe how much they hate a game in general, and I'm just like, geez, man, like either you're just saying that or like you really are that bent out of shape about it. I'm sorry, guys. Like this is what I mean. I love video games. I guess I'm thinking about it now. It's like what is it really? What it is that I don't really feel like I can keep up with as many video games that come out now, and like because I have a huge backlog and I haven't finished everything, and like I would actually like for the entire industry to sort of just take a break and like slow things down. You know what I mean? I think that would do everybody some good if we just sort of slowed down everything and like took our time more. Because I think that like crunching this hard and how fast everything is going is part of the problem. Like we don't really what are we racing for? like, you know, it kind of brings up, oh, you know, yeah, another topic I forgot that I'll be discussing. Shit, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks, I guess, right? Like that's the big deal right now, leaking Grand Theft Auto 6 footage or whatever, or gameplay. I don't know. We'll talk about that too. Uh, but I just can't see myself like really, unless it's something that I really, really care about, like Onimusha, like in particular. I would love to take the day off and like go at midnight and be at the opening for that, you know, at the launch. Like I would love to do that because that would be a nice dedicated, you know what I mean? Like it was just one thing every now and then. Because oh, let's be honest, like a lot of great games exist out there, but they don't just like come out back to back, like back to back to back to back. It's not like you're not rolling box cars with your dice every single roll, right? Like you can't just get that from January, February, March, April, just bam, 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 bam. It doesn't happen like that normally. It's a little more space than that. But the thing is that like I just don't think that it has to be done as quickly as possible. I don't know, right? Like I would actually much rather it be spaced out way more. Like it would be. I don't know who's doing the right pace. Maybe well, Sega's not doing much, but like Nintendo, right? Like when they come out with a Legend of Zelda or something like that, you know, it's like they took their time and like made something incredible. Because like those games are always like top tier, and I don't even play them, but I know that every time there's like not anything to complain about, and those come out one every new console or something, you know, every next generation, and that must be anywhere from 4 to 12 years for the lifespan of a console. So I don't know. I see how people describe, like what I'm saying is that like if you think about it, if you're from the 80s and the 90s, we didn't have the internet, right? So like could you imagine going to everybody's house and they're just like talking like that about like because you know they're not typing it up, but they're just like talking like that. Isn't that wild? That's what I'm saying. Like I metaphorically look at it in a live situation. You know what I mean? Like I think of things metaphorically in my brain. Like, well, what would this be like in real life? It would be like going to the mall and then, you know what I mean? Like you're going to the park and then these guys over here are on Team Red Shirt Nintendo. These guys are Team Blue Shirt Sega, and they're literally getting into a brawl over which one's better, Sonic or Mario. You know, like you know what I mean? Like in some sense. And I'm messing around a bit here, but like you get what I'm saying. I don't know. That's what I mean. I'm looking at this, and I remember my notes. In my notes, I basically just said that you know, like it never made me hate anything. It's just I understood being frustrated with gameplay, or like that the game is getting delayed, so it's going to take another 6 months to a year to make. But like with the pace that we're going at now, I just really can't complain anymore because I would much rather have a lot of time to just get down to this instead of my friend wanting to play this or we want to play that or like I'm the leader of my group with my best friend and my daughter. I mean Rick, my buddy Rick, my best friend Rick, shout out to Rick. um One of the greatest human beings I've ever met in my life. And he's also really good at like he'll make suggestions to me like what games we should play, and like he's found some gems too. I'm very very surprised, but ultimately, you know, I started this thing, I got us scheduled. I made sure that my daughter and I'm like, hey, you know, like you got to go to school, so like we got to if you want to play video games, we're gonna do it at this time of night. And you know I told my wife like, hey, I need like 2 solid hours to play games because like I'm being serious, like I love video games and I need to fit them in my life, so I can only play on the weekends at least for now because I'm so dead tired and hectically busy at freaking managing my life during the week that I only get that time. So you know what I mean? Like it's like I'm at the that's why naturally I don't mean to not have enough dog. I have a dog in the fight, you know, but I'm not like viciously out there freaking trying to like I don't have the time to be the kind of streamer that some people can be who have millions of followers, and I really hope that one day it all works out for me. I really do, but it's rough because like I have far less time than most people right now, and I'm trying to make things on routine and just rotational, like you know just everybody's locked in, you know, but like it's hard when you have 3 kids and like you live in California where it's traffic and it's you know shoot And I live a really good life in that perspective because the traffic that I deal with is not actually as bad as some people who live very far away and have to take the 91 freeway, which is a godforsaken freeway. Okay, like they haven't expanded it very much. The construction they're doing is like halfway through. Thanks, Gavin. You know what I mean? Like it's just the world that we live in is a complete cluster right now, and I think that like we ought to slow things down inside and outside the video game industry and just try and take care of things as is, because there's lots of video games to play, and I'll be the first to admit that no matter how long I've been playing video games, I have not played them all. I have not smoked the Sega Saturn library. I've done a lot of Genesis. I've done a lot of that. And what can I say? I'm guilty as charged. I don't care. I played emulated games, and I play digitally what I can find, and I play physical what I've kept and I can find. Like it's a lot of fucking video games. It's a lot of games out there. There's a lot of gems that we don't even know about that still haven't been like fully found, in a sense. Like they've been found, but the voices that have played them were the little guys. I guess that's one thing I'll add right now is that, as a video game player, I'm like I love being knowledgeable about things. I love knowing what's going on in the industry. I'm always on the forefront. I do love all of this, but really, like, by trade, I'm like a gem finder. I try to play games that not everybody's given love to, and I want to see what their potential is, and I want to see, especially games that are sometimes hated. I will go and take a look at them and say, like, what's the big deal? What's the problem? And then when I play it, I'm either like, dude, like, you just didn't take enough time. It's stupid, but it's like, you can get it. It's just, it's weird. And then other times I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. I wish I could get my money back, but you know what? $3 on Steam is not a big deal, or something, like whatever way I could play a game, because I don't have the money to collect them all. And I'm very, honestly, congratulations to everybody out there, all of my friends who are watching this that can hear me. Shout out to Gingervitis, shout out to Papa J and the Big Lip Radio guys, and shout out to all you guys, Crifton, all my supporters. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for sharing all that stuff with me, and Top Loader and Spaceys. You guys have incredible collections. Colonel Falcon, everybody's got like an incredible collection. I'm wow. It's so cool to be friends with you guys. And I never thought that I could talk about video games to this depth and like have fun with it. And I should have been doing social media a long time ago. I kept thinking about that, and I told my buddy Josue, shout out to Josue. Yeah, like I should have been doing this a long time, because I am comfortable talking into the camera. I'm comfortable with being on social media. I can deal with the heat of the kind of haters and the trolls and I actually enjoy in some way like doing what I do, because like, of course I enjoy it, but what I mean is, like, even with all of that going on, I still enjoy it, because like the people that hate me have nothing on me. You know what I mean? Like it's sad. Like, I'm not a bad dude, and I get a lot of crap, and it's like, well, like, I don't get it. You come in throwing punches on the little guy. Like, I only have like 600 followers. I actually took a picture of it because it's been fluctuating and shit. But like, I got I got 666. I took a picture of it. I got it. But yeah, and thank you guys so much, all my followers that actually stick around and hang around and listen to me ramble on about video games and whatever, and sometimes vent, and sometimes, well, most of the time I'm just lifting everybody up. That's what I mean. That nobody has anything on me. I can see why people. I knew that there was a reason I'd be afraid to come out here like this and stuff. Like this is my first social media and since MySpace or some shit. You know what I mean? And even then, I wasn't very good at it. But I was like born to socialize, and I was kind of like bred for this kind of stuff. Not everybody can handle social media. So if anybody's a little bit like curious about if everything was stressing me out and stuff, it's like, no, not really. It was annoying to hold in for 8 months, but all that stuff is basically, since I just put it out there, it's basically behind me now. And I'm not really holding any grudges anymore and everything because like that's what happened. I can only tell everybody what happened and that's it. And I'm not really hiding anything. I don't think I have anything hidden from anybody. You may hear some bad things about me, and that's what sucks. Is I'm going out there on Twitter and especially in gaming Twitter, and people have tried to sabotage my character, and so now I run into people who otherwise are friends with everybody else, but then you know that's the annoying thing about it is that like I run into people who either outright hate me already, argue with me upon like first encounter, right? Or like I have to explain to everybody, they're like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And I'm like, "Okay, so when I got on here, this person did this and this person did this, and I was in the middle of it, and I didn't even know what was going on. I was just following some people, and they hate me just for following them." Basically, it's like I just follow people, and you hate me. You voted for Trump. You're following Trump. I was like, dude, what? I mean, I just pay attention. I don't follow Joe Biden because he's not going to say shit. I don't follow Kamala Harris because like I already saw what she had to say and she didn't have to say much. She kind of stuttered and shit. What do you want me to say? I hear what Trump is saying. Yes, I think he's retarded. I'm fucking retarded. You know what I mean? But like now, all that tells me is that I could totally qualify as president. Okay, because if he can do it, any all of you, Krifton, I would vote for you. You know what I mean? Oh my god, guys, I'm not saying the man's a genius. I'm saying that the guy was the better choice of the two for me. So I don't care if you hate my guts because I did that. I am being open about it. I don't care about if you have to know my vote. You can't honestly tell me that it was a better choice to go with Kamala. I don't care that you may think that the policies, but no, I don't care. Okay, it's the best option I had because RFK dropped out. Vivek, whoever, you know what I mean? I didn't see. There's nobody up there that's doing what I would do. You understand that? There's nobody out there that's doing what I would do. So it comes down to like the amount of hate going on with everything, both in the industry, outside the industry. It's just a bunch of stuff that like and then also including, like I said, I have to like explain to everybody that like I'm not really a bad guy. I didn't, and I think most of you guys already know that. Um, it's what Top Loader said. Shout out to Top Loader, right? He said that like he understands just as much as I do why people are scared to come out here. And then like I've seen people delete their accounts from the kind of people that I've had to fight with. These very people, I've met people who I once knew for at least a bit of a time and they're gone. And I don't blame them. Place is crazy. We have people who, are stalker creep ass level. You know what I mean? And I didn't think it was that easy to find somebody so brazenly uh, upset in public like that all the time, talking like that, and then doing exactly the kind of thing that you would never think that somebody would actually take the distance to do. Just because we disagree about video games, you try to make me lose my job or something. The level of like, having other people come to my page who I don't know about, asking if, hey, can you go over there and snapshot this thing they said? They blocked me. No, I do not have a second account, guys. I don't have, because I don't have time for this. It is childish. All right. So moving to the next topic, I said selling out. And that's basically what's going on. It's like, I don't know if anybody even remembers those terms, like selling it. You sell out. Like, it's like Henry Rollins said in that quote. He said it perfectly. It's like there's two kinds of ways to look at this with music, and it applies to video games now more than ever. He said like, and I'll try to use video game companies like I'll try to swap it for I'll try to quote him while portraying what he was saying and sort of swap for the video game industry. It's like, well, look what Nintendo is doing. It's like they made art from the NES era and like they've done the best with all of them, right? But it's like it well, right. It's like if it were Nintendo and like in the early days, we're not talking about anything about profitable now. We're talking about the roots of like who really set forth anything, because in the music world it's people who have already passed away, but these companies haven't gone away and stuff, right? So it's like the root, like Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, whichever. those early games and everything could rock with the best of them even now. You know what I mean? Like games like Kid Chameleon or games like Gunstar Heroes or Quackshot. You know what I mean? Just pieces of art that, and they could roll with the best of them today. And it's like, then there's the kind of people who look at a graph and say, okay, we want to hit this margin here. We want to hit this line here, right? Like we want to meet these deadlines and meet these budgets and what, you know what I mean? And it's like, and he said, well, and that's okay if you want to take that corporate angle, but like, this guy never went platinum, right? He was just saying like, this guy never went platinum. He never went platinum. And it's like, we still love him very much because they did everything from the heart. You know what I mean? Then those albums are, although not platinum, some of the best artists in the world and stuff. They just died early in their age or something. You know what I mean? So it's just the same thing with the video game companies and the way that we see things now. It's like they basically just all sold out to the idea of profit. I won't call it even greed. I'll just say that like it's going way too fast, and we're looking at things in graphs, and we're not thinking about like just slowing down and trying to make some new art. We're just rehashing. We're making remakes of everything. And then we're following the same formulas with everything, trying to cash in. I forgot somebody I was talking to about like, might have been a coworker. The idea that like there was a game, I think it was a Call of Duty game that I was talking to about, with somebody, where like I think it was Call of Duty Black Ops 4 or something, and you guys may know or like confirm it. You know what I mean? There's nobody here to back me up right now, but it's like something because I don't own that one. But it was like because there was another game which I'm drawing a blank on right now that came out at the same time, like a MOBA or there we go. It must have been like Fortnite or some shit, right? Like something was hot at the time, like MOBAs or battle royales and shit like that, and they basically abandoned making like zombies or something and went with that instead, and it just totally flopped or whatever. Maybe it was Call of Duty Cold War or I don't know. I only have Black Ops 3 up to Black Ops 3, which is fantastic by the way. I love playing zombie games. What can I say? What can I say, guys? Zombie games are the shit. Selling out. Selling out that way too, right? Just selling out because you're just trying to ride the trend of like whatever genre of game is hottest at the time. No, just try to make a good game. A game that, I mean, Flappy Bird wasn't complicated, right? People love that for some reason. I mean, I get it, but I that's too simplistic to me. And I'll play Tetris, I guess, but not even Tetris that much. I want more complicated I want more complex games, deep games. Okay, raw. What did I mean about that? Like how they used to be raw. Well, I would say like you get a real glimpse at raw around the PS1, right? Like PS2 really made things different at that point. Like that was a big jump from PlayStation 1 to 2. Like the graphics with Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty. You know what I mean? Like holy crap. I just that to me will stand out forever as one of the most whoosh, you know what I mean? Holy shit. Um but PlayStation 1 and like Sega Saturn, like even Dreamcast, right? Like it's like this right here is a really good raw, you know what I mean? Because of the way that things looked like polygons and stuff. And the way that like the game could be, the gameplay, like the total gameplay time could be up to like 10 to 15 hours depending on how, Final Fantasy 7, like how long you could play the game and like invest the hours. Like you could really really juice it, right? Like it started to turn into bigger worlds. It started to turn into much deeper stories, much longer games. So like raw, like some examples of raw, right? That's what I wrote down too. Is two particular. One is only a solo game, but the other one's a franchise that led to Dark Souls, Demon Souls, all those games. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne. All the Souls games come back to, if anybody knows their shit, and I know my shit, this goes back to Kingsfield. Anybody play those ones? I played those ones, and I regret only renting it. I regret that is one of the greatest rentals you could have ever done in your life. And those things are rare and expensive as far as I Googled and eBayed. But yeah, Kingsfield, right? Like those games. That's what I mean by raw. Like I mean, you could make arguments for PC games too, like back in the day. Like what is it, like Ultima? The way that it just looks. I never played Ultima, but I have a couple, I think, and I've played it like a little bit. I wonder if I could even get into that because that's just basically a big isometric chessboard or something. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on it. It's just I found it rather like eating a mushroom, a raw mushroom or something. Like it's certainly umami flavor, but wouldn't do that again. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not old enough to know how cool that was. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons guy, I guess you could say, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate what it is. I just have different formats that I appreciate playing. So like if we're talking Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, if anybody's played the TurboGrafx 16, which is probably the first one I really played was the TurboGrafx 16. I'm so grateful for that. But I have a game on there called Double Dungeons, a yellow hue card. Double Dungeons. That's a really excellent first RPG you could ever play in your life. It's basically one of those hallway first persons. You just walk down the hallways and you turn right, turn left. There's a hallway, door, hallway, door. There's probably a couple games like that. I think one's called like Dragon View on the Super Nintendo. Top loader. Anybody help me out with that one? Was it Dragon View or something for the Super Nintendo? My buddy Rick. Shout out to Rick again. Um, yeah, I mean, games used to be raw and had like fucking attitude. It was like polygons, and they couldn't really express their facial expression. They were just lines and like dots and sort of like Resident Evil 1, you could say, on the PlayStation. Or a Sega Saturn if you I have that, I have that one still. I don't know what my PlayStation collection is. I'm kind of hurt, God. Not a total loss. I can always buy them digitally just to have them to play them, but will I really own them again? Like not for that money. Nope. Guys want to donate anything to me, sure. I'll add it. If you have doubles and triples, I'll take what you guys got, sure, but I can't afford it. You're kidding me, right? Like I would, you know, I love video games, but I cannot collect them the way that some of my good friends do. You guys are amazing people for doing that because God forbid everything gets wiped out on planet Earth with like, just gigantic EMP from the sun or whatever, it just blows everything out. Just all the cloud, all the satellites, all of it's done, but we're still alive. Well, all we got to do is make another one that works and, like a PlayStation or whatever, and we got the discs. Thank God for that. But yeah, Kingsfield, I really want to get those again. I really want to get those badly. Those were classically like so raw and so dark. I loved it. It's so cool. Uh, Next topic was future of gaming for me. Um, as I just said, I just don't want to do that kind of thing. I don't want to be on the rush. I'm gonna sit back now. I don't want to be on the rush. I don't want to be, you know, trying to get the next thing, trying to be a part of the conversation as my buddy Uncle Chunt, shout out to him. I don't want to do that. Um, I wasn't. I don't have a PS5. I wasn't thinking about a PS6. I could give a shit less. No offense. No offense to that. To them. To anybody who's a Sony person. I have a PlayStation 4, and I'll be good for now. For a long time, probably. I'm basically looking back like a lot of my good friends are. I don't really need any more. I'm good. Onimusha is the only one that pisses me off because I got to find a way to do that. I want that physically, but unless it comes to Switch 2, which, by the way, my buddy Rick just dropped one of those on me. He surprised me and got me a Switch 2 before the price hike. Woke up this morning to a text. He's like, "Hey, you home?" "Yeah, what's up?" I come outside, gives me a box. "All right, thanks, man. I'm sure I'll appreciate whatever it is." I opened it real quick and I saw it and I just shut it and I was like, "Oh shit, what the hell did I just see?" So I got one of those now, guys. My God, God love you, Rick. I appreciate you so much, man. My best friend for a damn good reason. And it's not because I get a gift like that. It's just he's so thoughtful. He always shows up early, helps me out. It's a real good friend of mine. Love playing games with him too. So, future of gaming for me is I got a PC, which, by the way, this message right here is for Papa J. Dude, like, you could shit on PC or like, like you could say all that, but like, I cannot understand as a gamer that you like, no, you do not have a PC. That's where gaming started, and like, I can't. If I have a PC and I don't have the consoles, I don't feel good. And then if I have the consoles and I don't have a PC, I don't feel good. I have them all. And like there are PC only games like World of Warcraft that you probably have never played. There's PC only games like Diablo. I mean like you could stretch it and get it on the PlayStation, but that's just good luck getting one of those. But other than that, it's just the wrong experience. Diablo 2, they've made Resurrected by now, sure, but it's the original one to me is still far better. I like Resurrected and stuff, but like I should have got it for the PC because again, you have to do this on the PC, man. It's just way better. And then point and click adventures started on the PC. And then I can't really I listen. When I was a kid, we had a PC, but I didn't do mouse and keyboard. That's I think maybe a big misconception that a lot of people have about me and a lot of PC gamers is that like you didn't even do that sometimes. You could use the arrow keys and the control button and stuff like Doom and Duke Nukem. I played pure keyboard. Now that might be weird, but it was totally worth it. It wasn't until the PlayStation 1 that you could even play Duke Nukem or games like Diablo like that. You know what I mean? So you had to wait till 1999, right? Or 2000 if you wait a little bit. So no, wait a minute. Wasn't even before like 1998 or whatever. Like the PlayStation 2 came out in like 2000 because I was in 7th or 8th grade. That was close. So hold on now. Like that's what I mean. You had to wait till then to play games like that. No, man. Like Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness, and then eventually Beyond the Dark Portal. Come on, man. Do not play Warcraft 2 on Saturn. Own it if you'd like, but do not. Do not do it that way. No offense. Still love you, man. Still love everybody. Tell Z Money that I still love him too, even though he felt weird. Um. All right. The Wii. I do not understand why anybody on Earth could ever say anything bad about that system. That system, when I look back at it and I thought about the Wii, I mean, I have a black one and it's really nice and I just got to get it all set up again. And I think that the battery packs, like, they went bad or something from not using them for such a long time or whatever. But the Wii is one of the most exciting and fun systems that ever existed in the entire, the entire history of gaming. I just like the funny enough, I probably have the most games for the Wii back there. You know what I mean? Like how many white cases I have. And those cases were cool because they had the title written in the format of the game, so like you saw every different title with the unique writing from each game's theme. And like I said, I understand there's like some portion of gamers that like hate that system. And it's like, how could you? It was so family oriented. It was so it's like that Wiimote is like the way that it just had two buttons like that again. Right? Like the classic NES in a sense. Right? With the little D-pad. Like one of my favorite games on there was Super Paper Mario. That game is so if you guys haven't played Super Paper Mario for the Wii, you have missed one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life. Holy crap, that one is way, 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 way up there. Because that game was deep and it was fun. Had to be better than Paper Mario for N64. No offense to the N64. N64 is one of the greatest systems of all time to me, including the controller shape, because I don't give a shit about the haters. 4 controller ports, bitch. That's what made it fun. Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, baby. 4 players. Golden Eye. 4 players. 4 players. 4 players. 4 players. Okay? Mario Kart 64. 4 players. Like that was the reason you got one of those. Wayne Gretzky's hockey game, dude. I forget what it's really called. Wayne Gretzky's hockey or whatever, where you get to like beat the crap out of each other just to get to the puck. Oh, that was a great game. I had fun. I mean, I had fun with Army Men, Sarge's Heroes, right? I love those Army Men games. And yeah, man, like I know that Smash was on that, but I wasn't I didn't play it until I got Melee. I didn't even get it. It was my friends that all had it. So 4 players, once again, 4 players, 4 controller ports. So yeah, man, like the Nintendo Wii, again, you could still plug in the GameCube controllers into that thing. 4 ports, 4 players. Oh man, the Wii, like it was slept on. I feel like you guys are misjudging this thing, and you know what? That's what again, the first topic that I said about like how people just like hate shit. It's like, how are these voices getting out? Like how do you not love the Wii? The Wii was fun. It had good digital title. The virtual store was great for that. It's nice. Really liked it. I could never understand people hating the Wii. I mean, I will admit that I did play the Conduit on it, and my wrist hurt, from holding the Wiimote like this and first person shooting for a long time and pulling the trigger like that. But like, I learned my lesson after that. It's not going to be first person shooters, I guess, in that one. Well, the Wii is. I don't appreciate the disrespect on the Wii. I never understood it. Okay, this is a big. Yeah, this is a big. Okay, so I just it occurred to me, I'm glad this is sort of like moving from one. It's flowing here. This leads right into how I feel about Nintendo. I know that a lot of the industry, and I get it. They sue a lot of people. I get that. We gotta. I'm not a fan of pirating. I'm not a fan of it. Like, I really believe that developers and everybody deserves their due paycheck, but if you're a little kid, I get it. You're screwing around on the internet, sure, But when it comes to Nintendo, specifically, I kind of understand them suing more because, like, I'm not giving a pass for not being greedy or something. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that since the Nintendo Entertainment System, since the Famicom, since the original Nintendo console, they've been, you couldn't do that back then. You couldn't pirate like that back then. And they called it the family computer, the Famicom, right? They called it the family computer. It was the one console that, if you ask me, throughout Nintendo's legacy, I have respect for that. They brought kids and parents and families together. They made games that were fun and like cute in a sense, or like appropriate at least, I know Urban Champions is like, two dudes beating each other up in the street or whatever. But you get my point, right? It's like this was a way to, this is for kids, and I mean, who hasn't been happy with Super Mario Brothers and all the, like I said, the original games like Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt. Look at that. The introduction to rail shooters, right? Like one of my favorite genres of games is rail shooters. I love rail shooters. They're just so fun. And I guess, that's all I'm saying is that like we need to have a respect for Nintendo. That to me, I mean, it's like there are like 3 or 5 or even 10 reasons to have respect for them. And like I'd say the 3 main ones is legacy of like how they did that, like how they brought entertainment home like that for families. And how they made Super Mario Brothers, like 2 is like franchises. They introduced so many franchises, right? They own everything Metroid, everything Mario, everything Donkey Kong, everything Kirby, everything F-Zero, right? Like they own so much. And then the biggest one, like I said, the next one I was gonna say, number 3, Pokemon. Like hand in hand, Pokemon and Nintendo. Game Boys and Pokemon Yellow, and Pokemon Crystal, and Red, Blue, Silver, Gold, all the way through to now. So like, I have such respect for them. Nintendo's legacy is that they brought families together and kids. They've only made kids happy, and like I'm not being a shill for them in any way, shape, or form. Like if they're dirtbags behind closed doors, then yeah, I don't like that. But boy, have they delivered. Zelda. I didn't even say Zelda franchise. You know what I mean? There you go. Bam. Just Zelda, Pokemon, and Mario alone, that's like, they could take on everyone. They could take on Sonic. They could take on Gears or Xbox or Halo. They could take on all of them. And like, Nintendo, I remember the console wars when we were talking about that, right? That's kind of funny because I just thought about that. Like when the console wars arguments were going on, they said that Nintendo wasn't considered a competitor with Xbox and Sony. Remember, that was like a year and a half ago or like a year ago. It just hit me right now. What the fuck? Like, holy shit. I remember people getting in arguments like, well, we don't consider Nintendo. And I was like, why? The fuck you talking about? They own so much, and they totally smoke in sales all the time. Like nothing ever bombs. You know what I mean? Like almost nothing ever bombs. And like, you know what I mean? Like at worst, they like break even, as far as I know. But like, dude, Castlevania games, you know what I mean? Like once they got ported to other, once they started doing business where you could have a PlayStation game with Symphony of the Night or whatever, like when you could have the collection on the PlayStation 4 or something, that's different. But up until then, like still, you can't get Mario on PlayStation now. Like they have some seriously big heavy hitters that they have behind their they own that franchise and they do not compromise. No different than Minecraft being not compromised by Microsoft or whatever. They hold that boy, did they hold on to it that with a death grip. So yeah, Nintendo deserves their own respect. Like, I don't agree with every bit of business practice, but like, I also have to say, like, they've been delivering pretty fucking solid since their birth. And then like Sega, what I did put down was that Sega is a sleeper in the shadows. Like they have such potential on the playing field and the terrain right now that if they came out and did something, you know what I mean, they could really knock it the fuck out of the park. They'd be sold out and back ordered for probably years if they did everything right. Could you imagine that? I don't know why they're not doing it. I don't know why they're not just taking at least some time to do at least a run of like 10,000, 20,000 units or something, like a new console that plays, the old Genesis, the old Saturn, the old Dreamcast. or even, you know, make a new one where they have like just they bring back Gunstar. They bring back they make a House of the Dead 6 with guns that you could have at home. You know how crazy that would be? I mean, I just thought of that right now. If they made a new system and the first game that came out was House of the Dead 6, and then they had like, you know, these games that they have at the arcades, like, you know, Jungle Run or whatever it's called, Let's Go Jungle or whatever, and fucking Jurassic Park and whatever they got going on with Sega down in the arcades nowadays. Like, imagine if they brought those home, and that was like the first bundle of just rail shooters and shit that they do right now. And like, they what if they sold an accessory that was just like a motorcycle throttle, like you know what I mean, like just the head of the motorcycle, the throttle and the brake and everything, and you can have that at home and like put it between your legs and like use it like a controller to do the Superbikes games or whatever's going on out there with our. I mean, who wouldn't just like die for that right about now? It's all just the potential and the terrain right now is like it's unbelievable. And I know that it would probably cost them a pretty penny considering their budget with pachinko slots or whatever they're doing over there, but arcade games and stuff, you know, selling them arcades, whatever. I would like to make an argument for digital ownership for a moment, Papa J. Cannot believe this. So my buddies, Rick, best friend, and my buddy Trump came over, and we were playing Hunter the Reckoning for the Xbox, the original game. So I have an Xbox Series S, and I digitally own Hunter the Reckoning for it. And we're trying to beat that game, and it's a bitch. But we were talking about Rare Replay for the Xbox, and how he has a physical copy of it, and he had to look it up because I saw that it was like on sale or something going up here. You know what I mean? And I basically, well, maybe it wasn't on sale, but I saw it, and that's a lot of games for $30. But it said that, well, you know, he looked it up and he was like, holy crap, wait a minute, you know, like I just noticed that my physical copy doesn't have a copy of GoldenEye in there. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, apparently the digital version is the only one that has GoldenEye 64 available. So if you want to own GoldenEye 64, the only official way to do it is if you get it digitally. I feel like Doc Holliday, like Val Kilmer from Tombstone, when it's like, must be a peach of a hound. And then he puts the cards down and he's just like, isn't that a daisy? I'm so sorry to rub it in, but it looks like if I just buy this, I finally get GoldenEye in my hands. I finally get it. Because I don't have an N64, I don't have controllers, I don't have the game, and I don't imagine that that'll be cheaper than me just getting that. No offense, but they will let me have it for years. And I don't even have 4 friends. Well, I do have my daughter, I have my best friends, you know. But still, to have it for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years for only $30 with a bundle like that, digital isn't the worst thing. It's just that right now it's compromised. It's got some trapdoors and pitfalls that could potentially happen, but for $30 for 10 years, 15 years, that's not a bad price, if you ask me. I love you guys. I want physical, but that was one thing that I thought was pretty much a slap in the face for you guys. I think that that's pretty crazy that only the digital one has that. That's crazy. I can't believe that he told me that when the physical one doesn't have it. All right, moving away from video games, let's finish up with going some other routes. Like, I just thought about the song Barbie Girl by Aqua. I'm a Barbie girl, right? And I just thought that, like, isn't that kind of funny that, like, that was a very popular song and that, like, the dude's voice. When we see the new Barbie movie, like, Ryan Gosling, he did not talk like that. I didn't see it, but I know he did not talk like that. He did not talk like how Ken opens up where it's like, doo-doo, hiya, Bobby. What the hell has Ken been smoking for the last 20 years? Hiya, Bobby. Hi, Ken. Jump in. Right? Like, Was that sexy or something back then? When it sounds like you're talking like this. It almost reminds me of the real McCoy. Remember them two from the 90s? I talk to you in the night in my dream of love so true. What was this? The sexy man voice. It's why does it? You know what it sounds like? It sounds like either the big heads from like Rocco's Modern Life. I think the wife, and then it also sounds like the SpongeBob episode where the chocolate selling the chocolates, right? Mom, they're selling chocolates. What? What did he say? They're selling chocolates. I remember chocolate. I talk to you in the night in my dream of love so true. Now, I love the 90s music, by the way. I do love 90s dance music. That's a soft spot for me. Whoever's actually watching this far, like, this is exactly why you deserve to go this far, is because I'll tell you this shit flat out. You'll know a lot about me by the end of this, right? That's a soft spot for me, man. I love music, and I really love 90s electronic dance music, how it used to be. La Boucher, right? Be my lover, wanna be my lover. What is love? All right, moving into the next subject. Hiya, Barbie. Hi, Ken. Come on, let's have some fun, Barbie. Let's go down to the beach and get some tan and go swimming and stuff and chocolates. Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey. Now, shout out to my buddy No Soup. Okay. Yeah. If anybody's seen Killer Joe, you know that is like a wild ride. It's like Burn After Reading, but better, like way better in my opinion. I only needed to see it one time because that movie is just wild. You see Matthew McConaughey naked. It's wild. Emil Hirsch, I don't know how to say his name, the guy from The Girl Next Door. Lords of Dogtown. The kid from that one. You know, the guy from, like I said, Girl Next Door. A couple other movies I can't think of right now, but Emil Hirsch. That guy's really, really damn funny. In the movies that he's in, he's freaking funny every time, especially Girl Next Door. That movie's funny as hell. It's just that movie, you need to see it, but you need to be careful because it may ruin chicken legs or chicken wings or just chicken. It may ruin chicken for the rest of your life. If the movie's an hour and a half long, it's about an hour and 10 in there that just chicken. Just be careful of the chicken, okay? But you really, really should see it. I don't think it'll ruin chicken for the rest of your life, but you will never forget that. You'll never forget seeing Matthew McConaughey's ass. You'll never forget that either. I know I haven't. I love Matthew McConaughey. He's great, but I could not believe that he was naked in that movie and what the hell ever, you know. Wow. Movie's crazy. Dark comedy. Crazy. Crazy, wild, hilarious. Stupid. All right, last two subjects. Okay, so this one's the social media advice that I was given about like haters gonna hate and fuck the noise. I mean, it's basically haters are gonna hate, fuck the noise, they're not worth the air. And it's funny because I just received some advice from my buddy, this new buddy I got, guys, Game Boy. Hold on, it's on my phone. Dirt. It's real late, guys. I'm tired. Game Boy, one of my new good friends right now. You know, we've been bonding a little bit. We'll give him a shout out soon. We'll make sure that he's in the fold. If you guys see him, he's got some Street Fighter stuff. He's a big fan of the Street Fighter series, and he actually said it just tonight. You know, some people aren't worth wasting our breath over, and that's true. You know, I understand the sentiment. Haters gonna hate. Fuck the noise. Ignore that crap. Just keep doing you. That's true. I'm not saying that's not true, but that's only half the argument if you ask me. The thing is that if you don't do something, if you don't confront it, say something, lay down the law, put your foot down, put a stake in the ground, you know what I mean? Like, draw a line. If you don't do something, it just seems like imagine metaphorically, this is what I think about, is metaphorically it's like this. You go to school, you've been going to school for 2-3 years in high school, high school, junior high, whatever. You go into school long enough to know everybody, and you know who the bullies are, and they're happening to pick on you. There's two schools of thought about the way that people typically would like to handle this. You know what I mean? And I happen to be the latter, but it's like the first way is that you ignore it. You just try to go a different way to school, or you just try to take a different street. Hold on a second. Muffin, come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Lay down, baby. Ooh. Where's your baby? She's done. I don't think we got fleas. What's going on, huh? Yeah, so the first school of thought is just to like transfer schools. You know, go a different route to school. Ignore them. Try to tell, you maybe tell your parents and then they switch your class or something. Sure, I guess. Still on campus, and honestly, if you transfer schools, what, you don't think that school has bullies too? You're taking your chances. Maybe it's the case that they don't particularly pick on you. But what if you get to a new school and there's another bully, but now he's picking on somebody else? You don't see that? Like, what do you guys feel? What does everybody feel when they're that guy that has to watch somebody else get bullied? Don't you want justice for that? Don't you want that to stop? I don't know. I turned a blind eye to it when I was younger, and it always bothered me. And that's because I guess I have a pretty high sense of justice. I didn't want the trouble. I didn't want to get involved, but it's like, I never thought about the term righteous indignation, about how much that's on your side. Like, would you be willing to get hit in the head? Would you be willing to get kicked in the stomach? Would you be willing to take a blow or two or even 10 for somebody that needs help? And when I thought about that as I got older, it's like, yeah, I would. And I had to a couple times, I had to say it loudly too, because I wanted the teacher to hear me, that I'm screaming at this guy, or like getting up in this dude's face saying like, well, what do you think? Like, who do you think you're right picking on a dude that's like, practically in the special ed class? Are you kidding me, man? You know what I mean? Like, I have to say it loud enough, and they're like, hey, break it up over there. What's going on? And I'm like, well, this guy seems to think that he's so tough, picking on a poor kid like that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It's like, that's what I eventually started doing. And I only did that like one time in school, and it felt great. And yeah, I was injured at the time, and I had a knee brace, and this bully at my school shoved me. And you know what? Like, I stood back up and I was like, yeah, you see my point? You're lucky that I got this leg right now. You know what I mean? I learned something that day, and I didn't have to see much more of it after that. But, luckily throughout my life, not many people mess with me because I wasn't joking. Don't do this. I really don't want to do this. Somebody could get hurt. I could get hurt. I don't want to have missing teeth. And you could bet your ass that if I have to go and tell my dad and I come home with a black eye and stuff, somebody's going to get their asshole ripped. My dad's going to rip somebody a new asshole. And you know what? I just don't really think we have to do that, because honestly, I don't know what your problem is at the end of the day. You're kind of a dick. So that's the first school of thought, is that like you just ignore it and just move on, and you transfer schools or whatever. But every school has a bully. And that'll always be the case until more people stand up willing to help others and take a blow or 2 or 10. I believe in doing the right thing now. So I'm the guy at the theater that turns around and goes like, hey, dude, people paid to like watch a movie. Could you get off your phone and like get out? You take a break outside. Go ahead. And yeah, people do end up trying to get in my face and stuff, but they don't try it any more than that. Because you'd have to be insane to try to take blows at me in a public place like a theater or at a grocery store, in front of kids, in front of family. Not everybody, they start to realize that the bluff has been called. So that's just me. The second school of thought is that you do confront it, and nobody's stupid enough to actually do that stuff. And if they are, I don't know, you're going to have to hit me pretty hard. I can take quite a bit. I can take a blow pretty good. I may not be as tough as like Ken Shamrock or like Alistair Overeem or Brock Lesnar. I'm not that tough, like huge, big and shit like that. And I'm not tough like some of my friends who have served in the military who've had to be on the battlefield or whatever. Like I've never had to put myself to like shooting someone level. Like law enforcement agents who I have. Thank you for your service if you serve the military. Thank you for your assistance on the streets if you're a police officer. I've never had to be put in a life or death situation, but you could be damn right that if I was fighting for the right thing, that it'd be worth it. So I just believe in actually confronting problems. And I know that haters are going to hate, but I think that there's another slight misconception. The kind of hate that I receive is not from trolls with, 100 followers and like 22 followers. It's not like this. This isn't the kind of hate where there's a stereotype that's often associated with haters going to hate, but it's like haters are going to hate with a person that's got like 75,000 followers. That's not a troll. That's somebody with some movement here. That's somebody with some followers that they do their bidding. Those are some vultures out there that think that I'm some bad guy because this person has 40,000 followers and they hate my guts. This person has 2,000 followers, they hate my guts. I've got 600. 666 to be exact-ish because of the way that keeps fluctuating. But yeah, I just think that like haters gonna hate. That's true to a degree, and I'm perfectly moved on. I feel much better now that I just put it out there. I don't dwell on it now that I've got it out in the open. Sunlight is the best cure for most things. You just got to get it out there. But it's the stereotypes that are behind these phrases about like, well, haters of 22 followers. I already blocked this guy that was only like 28 followers who was just trying to get into an argument with me. It wasn't even worth it because he started out on such the wrong foot. Like he already lost the game before he even got there. So I was just like, this isn't even worth it. But like when they're 14,000 followers or something like that, like, come on, this is not a troll. This is somebody who claims to be like a mental health advocate while being accepting and welcoming and also like into video games, and that's the thing is that I'm just here for the video games and everybody's turning a blind eye to like this person like shredding somebody apart when their argument was completely valid and like it wasn't like they were trying to be provocative. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, like you're upset just because they think that Sony, they're still going to buy a PS5. You know what I mean? Like, well, what they've been waiting for 2 years, maybe saving up for that. Like, just because they make a business decision doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to want to play what you want to play. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm talking about. It's the I get this advice and I hear the 50% that makes sense, but then the other 50% is that like because of the nature of my behavior and the way that I see tackling these issues, it's like I at least have to put my foot down and put it out there and then just I'll move on after that. If I have to come back to it, I'll be like, well, I don't see how you're going to get past those things unless you're sidestepping all those arguments that I've made. And lastly, wrapping up here, guys, the Street Fighter movie, I don't do them. I don't do video game movies except maybe the Mario ones, the Sonic ones. I just saw that Golden Axe came out with like a show or something. I'm not confident that I'm going to enjoy it that much. I'm not trying to say I'm not a negative Nancy like that. I'm not shunning it. I think it's wonderful that it's getting some light like that because it'll probably sort of like get people onto like where this came from and move on. But ultimately, the Street Fighter movie, like this is just a joke because I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. Shout out to my buddy Game Boy again. Street Fighter needs to have some respect. That's something that needs a lot of justice to it. The Assassin's Fist series online was actually the closest thing to it so far. It was great, but like we need that Hollywood level production with the heart of Street Fighter because the lore of that video game series is so precious to me. I actually really really like it. It's really really cool. And amongst other things, I wouldn't want a Final Fantasy live action movie if they couldn't do it right for you guys out there. Shout out to Jen, shout out to Toshi, shout out to Unplugged Retro, my buddy Kevin. Yeah, I really wouldn't want movies and like things like that to be made, like books and comics and stuff, if it wasn't true to the heart of the story, if it wasn't true to everything we've known to come and love, or come to know and love. Maybe that's the phrase. There we go. Everything over the years that we've come to know and love. I think that yeah, like this whole Golden Axe thing, just capping off with this. I didn't put that in the agenda, but I don't want them to ruin the reputation I don't want them to, although they're highlighting the franchise and giving it some sunlight, they're also kind of giving it too much of a sunburn from all that sunlight. You kind of, you got kids nowadays growing up on that instead of like just starting out on Golden Axe 1 and 2 or something. But the Street Fighter movie, I wrote down this exact quote. Actually, I would rather, that's the thing, the new Street Fighter movie, I would rather watch the old one with those eye opener things that they use in Clockwork Orange on repeat, you know? And I know that maybe I'm giving that thing a bunch of shit, but like, no. I don't like the old Street Fighter. I don't like the new one. I'm going to have to rewatch these things to make sure that I'm not just being harsh and judgmental, but I'm pretty sure that the whole Ken and Ryu thing is kind of just like, it's gone. That those weren't the right people for the role. Chun-Li, yeah. Cammy, I guess. Like when I saw the pictures again and everything, I was like, yeah, that makes a little sense. But the other two guys, new. So, and yes, Gomez from, I forget the name right now. It's just, I'm getting tired, guys. It's 4 a.m. It's 3:55. I forget the guy's name from Addams Family, Gomez. But yeah, definitely that was not a bad Bison at all. He's a wonderful actor. So yeah, M. Bison in that sense was probably the best character in the entire friggin' movie. But I mean, I don't talk about Street Fighter. I don't talk about Super Mario Brothers with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Even though thanks to Top Loader and my wife, I'm going to be giving that one a go again whenever that comes to stream or something. For now, I don't do, the only one I do is Mortal Kombat from the 90s. That's the best one we got so far, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Even the new ones aren't as cool as the first one. But I don't do, what the fuck was it? I had it just a second ago because I thought of Mortal Kombat and I replaced it. But I don't do them. I don't do Street Fighter. Oh, I don't do Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li and shit. I don't do. I've never had to expose these eyes to those atrocities. I never watched The Human Centipede. I don't need to see that shit. Garbage shit. I'm a film guy, so there's no fucking point to me. I don't care what anybody says. You can judge me all you want. I'll never need to expose my eyes to more shit. And I don't do Dragon Ball Z movies either. Evolution and what the fuck ever. I don't do that. The only Dragon Ball Z that I watch is either Dragon Ball Original, Dragon Ball Z the show. I have not watched Super, but I'm fine with it. It's totally okay. But I do all the Dragon Ball Z movies. Dragon Ball, The World's Strongest. My favorites are Janemba, number 12, and Hildegard, number 13. Number 14, 15, 16. Budori, Resurrection F, I guess. If I don't have that one, but and then Superhero, Dragon Ball Super, the movie Superhero. I love all that stuff, but I will not watch the live action shit. That shit is but I'll give another go to Super Mario Brothers with Bob Hoskins, and I will give maybe another one like Street Fighter a go. But it was painful because the video game was so beautiful, and then that. No. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for the ride coming along with me, and things are back on the up and up. Everything's great. If you guys have been wondering if I'm cool or not because of all the other videos I put out, no, I'm fine. I was fine. I just needed to get all that crap off my chest, and I didn't appreciate what happened to me, and I just want everybody to, if anybody asks me, I'm just gonna be like, go watch my YouTube videos and my episode 5 or whatever I said. I went all over the place with that stuff to try to explain this giant web of bullshit and have this campaign to go against me because I'm some small creator that doesn't like. You can call me a content creator. I'm just a dude. You know what I mean? I just do stuff, and I just like talking, and I just like being out here with everybody. If it is what we call content and you guys like it, well then that's wonderful. But you can call it what you want. It's just I don't take kindly to that kind of stuff, and I do not take kindly to somebody talking ill of my character. I'm not trying to turn anybody against my enemies. You can make your own judgments. The people who have tried to sabotage me, these are horrible people. And you know what? I'm totally willing to fight them one way or the other. I do not take kindly to it, and I'm totally fine about it. I'm not stressing about it because I put it all down. I just laid it all out there. So thank you guys so much for supporting me. It's been an hour and 10 minutes as of right now. I'll see you guys out there on Twitter. You guys can always find me there at VGM Hero. And thanks for watching the VGM show. We'll see you next time. And be careful out there for those of you that are doing bad stuff. I'm watching you. Don't you do anything because I'm going to get you. Take care, guys. Thanks so much.